there, my name is Amanda Silver Sister and welcome back to my YouTube channel. So if you're like me, then you decided to embrace dry January, and I wanted to come on here and talk with you a little bit about what I find to be, first of all, the best benefits so far. We're on day 12 now. I wanted to share what I'm finding the biggest struggle about sticking to dry January, and then I want to tell you about the thing that I think I hate the most about dry January. Now, before I get started on that, if you are brand new to this channel, please hit that subscribe button. And if you are a returning viewer, I always like to stop and take a little time to thank you for once again watching and tuning into my latest video. Before I get started about what I think about dry January, I want to just let people that are new to this channel know that this is primarily a gray hair account. So I am fully transitioned to gray hair. I've been gray for 2.5 years. I absolutely love everything about it. I love supporting women who are deciding that they too would like to embrace their gray hair. I actually just did my purple shampoo wash today. But I also want this channel to be a place where women that are premenopausal, menopausal, that age, I want to be able to connect with things that we're experiencing, struggles that we're having. And I feel like alcohol can be one of those things that either we're really thinking about a lot more, we're seeing that it impacts our body differently. We may have kicked the habit long ago. So I thought, this is actually a really relevant thing that I wanted to come on here and chat with you about. So I'm going to tell you my immediate motivation for deciding to embrace this dry January. And I think my voice is going to go. And then I also want to tell you about some things that have really been resonating with me that have been concerning and also probably prompted me to decide to do this dry January. So the immediate goal for us is that next month we are off on vacation. So we are going to an all-inclusive resort, and we do this every year. We go for 2 weeks and we always overindulge. So there's unlimited food, unlimited drinks. And so we just kind of wanted to be really mindful leading up to that holiday about what we were eating, do a little bit of a detox, if you will. And then the other things that have been something, I don't know, I follow a lot of accounts regarding perimenopause and menopause, and I've started to hear things like alcohol can be increasing your levels of anxiety. It definitely could be contributing to your weight gain. It can be affecting your sleep. Just nothing good about the impact of alcohol on the premenopausal or menopausal woman. And then how that impacts my life, I've shared with you guys many times, is that I absolutely love red wine. And so for me, red wine, I love the way that it tastes. Then when I was hearing that stat that 7 to 10 drinks a week is considered a moderate to heavy drinker for a woman, I thought, oh my gosh, there are many weeks where I would fall into that category. And so I thought, I need to do this for myself, and maybe I'm just at the beginning, just start rethinking about my relationship with alcohol, my thoughts about it, because really I kind of viewed it still as self-care, much like if you eat a piece of chocolate cake, it feels like you're indulging and you're being really good to yourself. For me, if alcohol is actually a negative, but I see it as sort of like indulgent. I have a house guest. I don't know if you hear a little pause, but I will introduce you to her at the end of the video. So that's kind of where I was and has got me here. So I want to just be really transparent about how I found it so far. So I would say the biggest benefit that I'm seeing, we're 12 days in, is the increase to the quality of my sleep. I've shared in past videos that I've had some issues with sleeping. I get up a lot. I'll be up at 4 o'clock in the morning. I can't get back to sleep. I was really looking at my cortisol levels, and I have a paint by numbers there because I've been trying to deal with stress and being able to limit my stress in my life. But never did I think that maybe it was caused by the fact that I love my wine. And so anyway, since I've cut that back, I have been sleeping like a baby, and it's such a great positive, it's actually really motivating. So, you might be struggling with sticking to it, but then you have such a great night's sleep, you wake up, you feel refreshed, you're not sluggish. It's amazing. So that is for sure, hands down, the best benefit so far to my 12 days of dry January. And now I want to share with you what I'm finding the biggest struggle to be with sticking to dry January. So I think one thing I'm starting to see about myself is that my desire to have that glass of wine is really more about the habit. So it's a habitual thing in me rather than if I really want that glass of wine or not. So say I decide, sometimes I try to go like no Monday through Thursday, but then when Friday comes, I don't even think about, do I want that glass of wine? It's a habit. So, we start with supper, I take out the glasses of wine, we pour it. We just do it. It's just what we do. And so we don't even think about it. It's just a habit. Or if I'm having, red meat for dinner, I'm always going to have a glass of red wine if I'm having steak. I couldn't even think about not. So I don't think, do you really want it? It's just something you do. So I think breaking the habitual part of it has been the hardest. But so far, what I think has been beneficial to that is, first of all, I'm not doing this by myself. My husband and I are doing it together. That has made it so much easier. We're talking about it when we're like, hey, I could really use a glass of wine. Are you feeling that too? And he'd be like, yeah, me too. Then with most cravings, if you feel them and you wait and you acknowledge that you have them and you just wait 20 minutes to an hour, that craving is gone. So learning to just acknowledge, okay, I want it now, but in an hour I probably won't, has been really beneficial to us. So basically, if we don't pour that glass of wine at the beginning of the supper prep, which is when we normally would do it, we break that habit or that cycle. By the end of supper, I don't want a glass of wine anyway. So that has been the biggest struggle and so I'm actually making this video on a Friday because I probably am going to start thinking about that habit where we make supper together on a Friday night and we really start to enjoy our weekend. It's just been so associated with indulging in some wine. So I think that's the biggest struggle that I have found so far. And then I said I was going to share with you the thing that I've discovered that I hate the most about dry January, and it's actually something I hope I can change, and it's right here. So I mentioned to you, I love the taste of wine. I love it how it complements my food. That's the reason that I love wine so much. So I decided that I would try to indulge in some alcohol-free wine. I was really excited about this. I was really hopeful that this would be good. So I went to just a local superstore here. This was only $8, but not worth $8. And when we opened it up, I thought, oh, it kind of smells like wine. But then it has a really strong grape juice smell immediately after. And in fact, that's really what it tastes like, is grapefruit. So I was really, really disappointed. And I actually made a joke to my husband. I'm like, well, I bet you this will be the longest lasting bottle of wine that's ever stayed in our house. So my husband didn't even finish his glass. I made a point of trying to finish it because I really, really wanted to like it, and I didn't. Excuse me. So I wouldn't recommend this at all, actually. But what I did is I reached out to a company. For you that follow me on Instagram, I have about 44,000 followers over there. So I contacted a company in BC, and they're going to send me some samples of their non-alcoholic wine. I hope it is better because I love the thought of it. I love the thought of being able to have something that still complements your food, that still feels indulgent, that still feels enjoyable, that doesn't have any alcohol in it. But after this, I am not convinced that it will have that benefit. So anyways, day 12, that's my take on dry January. I hope it helps you to stay strong if you're embarking on the same thing yourself. Now, I mentioned that I have a house guest, and I'm going to go find her and introduce her to you because she is lovely. We live, my house is a mess, by the way. My husband and I live here. We have no kids at home and no pets. And so a friend of ours asked me if we could watch the beautiful Miss Lily for the weekend. So we have Lily. She is such a doll. She causes us no grief at all. Her hair is like nothing I've ever seen before. I am wearing black because I actually have to do a reel for something else today. And I looked down at my pants and I was like, that was a bad choice. But gosh, she is the sweetest thing ever. So we absolutely love having her. So she'll be here today and tomorrow. And then my grandson, who is only a year and a half, he's coming in the morning. So he is going to love that she's here. So anyways, that's my video for today. Thank you so much for tuning in. Stay strong if you're doing your dry January. My plan is to be very successful until the end of the month. I do have a girls' weekend, the last weekend of January, and that's probably going to be my biggest battle. That's why I wanted to find something that was non-alcoholic. I think just having something in your hand while everybody else is drinking is also a really good way, but it is definitely not going to be this wine. So if I find something better, I will absolutely share it with you. Please leave me your comments down below if you are a drinker, if you're not a drinker, if you've quit drinking, benefits that you've found, if you're just doing dry January, and if you're finding it's having a positive impact. I am down 3.5 pounds, I forgot to mention, so that's also a good thing. But yeah, I'm really curious what your thoughts are on this dry January and just drinking in general. And I would love to know, as a premenopausal or menopausal woman, if you're finding that alcohol does have an impact on you. I've actually, like I said, I think I mentioned I'm premenopausal. I'm not in menopause, but if ever I'm going to have a hot flash, it's going to be on a night that I have had red wine. So anyways, curious to hear your thoughts, ladies. Okay, take care.